Good afternoon to one and all. I hope I am audible. Rupa?
Yeah, it's audible,
Yes, sir.
sir.
Clear, sir.
Okay,
Yes, very clear, sir. Please go on.
I'm just doing some logistics of the various things. Okay, is the full screen visible to everybody?
Yes, sir.
Okay. On behalf of myself and Bangalore Chamber of Industry and Commerce, I welcome all the participants and thank you so much for taking time out on a Saturday, that too afternoon, very sleepy time after a nice lunch. And during the Corona lockdown 3.0, it is amazing that so many of you are able to offer your time on this very interesting and contemporary topic. One comment from my side, thank you so much Prithvi and Rupa and the other organizers of Bangalore Chamber for the kind words and allowing me to participate in this program. It is a learning experience for me also. Industry 4.0 is a vast subject. I just started learning it last couple of years with a little bit lack of depth in the subject. And Corona is another subject which none of us can learn. We will know only a couple of years from now how the Corona behaved and how we behaved in front of the Corona. But when we try to put together Industry 4.0 and the Corona pandemic, there seemed to be a lot of learning coming for all of us. So I want to share with you today, ladies and gentlemen, a little bit of ideas and thoughts and the knowledge I gathered through a research of some of the literature, very contemporary literature of the last 4 to 8 weeks in insights of various research-oriented organizations like McKinsey, like Deloitte, like the manufacturer.com, and so on and so forth, and also some scholarly articles. To put together this presentation, I would request all of you to put your questions on the chat box, but instead of interrupting in the middle, I would request the organizers to read out the important questions and we could take it up at the end of 45 minutes of my session. If I slightly spill over, my apologies, but I'll try to complete my presentation in 45 minutes maximum. And then the questions and answers can be taken up. I'm sure many of the answers I may not have myself. It's a new subject, both Industry 4.0 and the COVID-19 are both are new subjects. And I encourage some of the other participants also to chip in to help me on giving the answers. So let me now move on to the subject. The COVID-19, because it started in December, they call it COVID-19, but the impact of it is in 2020. So I think before we start understanding that, we should understand the various effects and the various impacts and the drivers of this Corona pandemic. So I'll move on to my presentation. Are you able to see the presentation, Rupa?
Yes, sir.
Okay. In my first module, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to cover the macro and the micro drivers and the impacts and the effects of the crisis on global manufacturing. I am restricting myself to manufacturing domain rather than service sector and other sectors. But whatever we discuss today is quite common to the various sectors, including service sector. In the second module, I would like to touch upon is the relevance of Industry 4.0, is it important during this crisis? And is it really helping during the crisis also? Instead of talking about beyond the crisis, is Industry 4.0 playing any role during the crisis? This is what I would like to cover in my second module. In the third module, having learned from first module and second module, I would like to share with you how manufacturing industry, not only in India but globally, can cope and recover to maintain its resilience. I use the word resilience because volatile, uncertain, ambiguous, and which is very difficult to handle situation, the coronavirus. It creates a new normal. So how to recover from this? This is the third module. Just moving on. Today, instead of bullet presentations, I want to put the points so each one of you can read it also. Some of you may not be able to hear. This is my first webinar. And for you also, many of you maybe. So as I am talking about the points, you can easily read it also. First point is the global crisis, whether we talk World War II, World War I, of course, another one, Gulf War 1974-75, 9/11 2001, the World Trade Center in US, what happened, all of you know. The financial crisis of 2009-10, and now the pandemic of 2019-20. Whichever crisis we talk about, they create fundamental shifts in government policies, in consumer behavior. Consumer could be fast moving consumer goods consumer, end consumer, as well as industrial customers and industrial sectors. A sector could be in automobile, aerospace, power generation, gem and jewelry, leather, textile, healthcare. Sector could be anything. A domain is nothing but a sector. All of them are having fundamental shifts after each crisis, isn't it so? Every manufacturer is impacted by this crisis in some way or other. For many, this poses a survival threat. Some manufacturers have ceased the production completely. I think most of the manufacturers in the lockdown area have completely closed the production. And right now, they have just opened up the manufacturing in green zones. And yesterday, in one webinar I attended, I came to know the green zone constitutes only 15% of the industrial sector GDP in India. And it borrows only 7% of the capital. And many of the industries have seen a greatly reduced demand. But in some cases, like healthcare, not only pharma, but even healthcare equipment, there is a sudden surge in demand. So all this brings me to what is the various impacts of this coronavirus. What is the immediate impact? A snapshot. Number one, it hit manufacturers in an unexpected and unprecedented way. For the first time in modern manufacturing history, the three factors, demand, supply, and workforce, manpower, availability. Demand visibility, supply visibility, workforce visibility, and availability are affected simultaneously. The previous crisis, some of them affected demand, some affected supply, some affected manpower, but there is no crisis till COVID-19 which affected all the three. The second aspect which we are learning, social distancing, decontamination, don't touch me, namaste is better than shake hands, employee safety measures. All this put an additional level of pressure on manufacturers. I believe 50% of the workforce will not be available even after the lockdown is lifted to perform the functions on site. Either they are not available because they have gone to their hometowns, or they are migrant labor, or they are contractual labor, or because the social distancing per square foot doesn't permit them to come and attend the work. While office employees and knowledge workers are able to shift, typically IT industry and some of the office employees and manufacturing industry can move to remote working. Default operating mode can be remote working. Already working out of home is very famous. But most factories are not designed to be managed remotely. They lack the tools and infrastructure needed to support such activities. In this context, every major manufacturer is now experiencing disruptions across the supply chain of parts and raw materials. We are not talking about supply chain within Karnataka, within India, but we are talking about supply chain across the globe. Most of our companies are depending on imported raw materials. We buy materials from other states, other cities within India. We put materials globally, and all of them would have come to standstill because it's a global pandemic. The difference between epidemic and pandemic is pandemic expands over space. Epidemic expands over time. Ebola virus, for example, is an epidemic. COVID-19 is a pandemic. It expands over time as well as space. Sectors like automobile, aerospace, oil and gas, industrial sectors, they all depend on global supply chain. The volatility of the supply is going to be recurring. It is not a one-time volatility. It is going to recur. Why? Because some places start manufacturing in the month of May, some places start manufacturing in June, some may start only in August, so on and so forth. We cannot predict, and unless for an assembly line you get all the components, you cannot make the complete product like an automobile or a machine tool. The corona pandemic therefore represents a very critical moment for global supply chain and manufacturing. Especially Northern America and Western Europe is very seriously affected, which you all know that 60 to 70% of the fatality and the cases, affected cases, are these two continents. And they are the major buyers of export components from automobile and other industries. Let us quickly look at this aspect of global supply chain. See, what motivates us for today's topic of Industry 4.0, we all should understand. I don't want to jump into some technology discussions of artificial intelligence, augmented reality and all, because we are looking at solutions to a problem. We are looking at the value to the customer. Before 2019, the value to the customer was different. After 2020, the value to the customer is altogether different. Look at the global supply chain disruptions. Japan has moved first. It already declared that billions of dollars will be allocated by the National Bank to withdraw the manufacturers from China back to Japan, or maybe they will put this manufacturing into countries like India. Subsidies will cover relocation expenses. Investments will be given for labor-saving automation, like robots. Likewise, Australia and South Korea are also contemplating reshoring. Reshoring means taking the manufacturing from foreign nations back to their countries. French president, who was once upon a time champion of globalization, he says supply chain will need to become more French. German's health minister says we have to minimize one-sided dependency in order to win back national sovereignty. Similar ideas are percolating in the United States. We would like to bring supply chains home. White House economic advisor. As you all know, Mr. Trump has already declared that immigration will be restricted in the few days to come. He would like to place the jobs in the Americans. More than millions of jobs have been lost in the US and they applied for compensation. Therefore, the corona pandemic is causing not just manufacturers, but entire nations to reevaluate global supply chains. Well, just quickly touching upon some of these Western nations, for creating a strategic alliance, they may go back to create automation in their countries. Already I was told from 2015 onwards, European nations like Germany was contemplating pulling back component manufacturing from developed nations like India or Thailand back to Germany and other countries. Because the advantages of digital manufacturing far outweighs the advantages of cost reduction by going to countries like India. Now with the COVID, the motivation to bring back automation and robotics has tremendously increased. The productivity of the manufacturing processes will definitely require new jobs, and there will be opportunity for digitally savvy workers. I see some noise in the background. Rupa, I'm out.
You're audible, sir.
There is some noise in the background. Kindly look into.
Yes, sir.
Those who join later may not close the audio quickly because they might have forgotten. Just tell them very politely. Now, this threat, how do we India address this threat? Are we going to lose the export manufacturing of engineering goods like automobile? So, to summarize, the key drivers and factors: social distancing, information vacuum, travel difficulties, trust deficit. Social distancing in terms of skilled manpower availability, real estate per person, which means square foot of people standing in the same shop floor. Information vacuum, the visibility of data for demand data and supply data to take decisions. The communication of operational decisions. We are all used to standing in the shop floor and giving instructions to our workmen, supervisors, managers. What do we do now? Travel difficulties, customer support, after-sales service, B2B market especially, supplier development, supplier support, vendor development, new product development, new business development. All this depend on travel. Trust deficit. This is my own view. There seemed to be some trust lost by China due to the doubt on Wuhan. Japan has openly declared and pulled out. On the other hand, India seemed to be gaining trust by offering various medicines and inoculations and other medical equipment to even Western world. Trump thanked Narendra Modi sahab on this account. So all these key drivers and factors, they create many impacts and effects. In my opinion, these are some of the effects. There are many more. For sure, there will be surplus capital investments. For next to 6 to 18 months, I don't think the manufacturing industry, other than healthcare, can afford to invest because they have to utilize their existing equipment. This will have a serious impact on machine tool industry. For sure, another capital goods sector to which I belong. Assembly line disruption. If there is a social distancing, one operator may have to do more than one job. Earlier we talked multi-skilling is required in the future, but now Corona is going to drive it further. Upskilling demands. Those who are doing day-to-day job will start doing cognitive work. I will explain later on. There will be many business losses for MSMEs for sure, OEMs also, but OEMs may have deep pockets to withstand that. The demand volatility from OEMs will affect tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 MSMEs. Yeah. There's some audio.
Hello.
Yeah. Are we able to hear me? Rupa?
Yes, sir. Clear, sir.
Supply chain disruption already touched upon. To get quality parts on time delivery and in sets. Sets means as per the bill of materials, whether it is automobile or a machine tool, is a big challenge. Reshoring of manufacturing, already explained that. And for India, we can look at the converse of it. We can also reshore the manufacturing by promoting the Make in India program of our Prime Minister. Instead of importing many goods, we can start thinking of critical and strategic goods to be made in India. So far, there is no big motivation to do so. Even defense industry was importing it. Now I think there will be a big fillip to this. The migration of industries. If there is a global deficit of trust on some nations and increasing gain on other nations, I'm sure industries will relocate from one nation to another. I'll just pause here. I hope I'm audible, Rupa.
Yes, sir. Clear, sir.
Okay, let me get some water for my thirst. I'm not seeing the chat box now. I hope if anybody wants to stop me, if I'm too boring, you can let me know. I'll try to become more interesting. I'm moving to the second module of my presentation. Can I go ahead, Rupa?
Please, sir.
Okay. The second module of my presentation, as I mentioned, is how Industry 4.0 is helping to manage the crisis right now. Right now means when the pandemic is on. I will touch upon 3 case studies. Additive manufacturing case study, robotics and automation case study, augmented reality case study. But before I do so, I would like to give a quick snapshot on what is Industry 4.0. I'm sure many of our participants today are well erudite and knowledgeable on the subject, but it is my duty to just have a quick recap. This is the only slide I have on Industry 4.0. I promise you. because BCIC is going to put together many more webinars on Industry 4.0 in the weeks to come. Some of the technologies of Industry 4.0: artificial intelligence, additive manufacturing, augmented reality, system integration, cloud-based application, simulation solutions, Internet of Things, industrial robots, big data analytics. These are only some of the technologies. These are the top 10 famous technologies. Some terminologies may be different, but these are the way we understand this business. But I would like to consider them in two groups. One is advanced manufacturing technologies. Example is additive manufacturing. Example is automation, industrial robotics. And second group of technologies, digital transformation technologies. In this, we include artificial intelligence, augmented reality, smart manufacturing, which means Internet of Things, cloud-based applications, big data analytics, system integration, and so on and so forth. But between the advanced manufacturing and digital transformation, there is a convergence happening now as we are talking due to the coronavirus. So I'm very happy to tell you that Industry 4.0 is one umbrella of various technologies which belong to the domain of cyber physical systems. I'm not going to detail each one of these technologies. There are other seminars coming. Today is a little strategic presentation to understand where do we come in terms of using Industry 4.0 to overcome our problem of the pandemic. Now it's 3:30. Hopefully I should close by 4 o'clock. Prior to the crisis, there was an era of great interest of Industry 4.0 to many manufacturers. It was an exciting topic with huge potential benefits. All of us widely regarded as positive, new technology, future thinking, blah, blah. Many of us are today focused on here and now, our health, our family health, friends and colleagues, ability to access food supplies, our job security, financial impact of our employees. These have become extremely important. Beyond that, we also have to consider the wider economic impact and the unknown amount of time it will take for things to return to some level of normality. The new normal is still unknown to all of us. The business drivers of Industry 4.0 before the crisis were focused on competitive advantage, cost reduction, productivity, sustainability, and innovation. The goal was to make well-run businesses run better. The focus for many manufacturers, whereas now, is first is survival, and foremost is survival. Beyond that, we should limit our damages. The immediate financial impact on manufacturers is already resulting in huge reduction in non-essential spending and investments. Many of the solutions of Industry 4.0 currently being considered or being deployed fall in the category of non-essential business activities. Everybody asks, what is the return on investment? Having said that, the priority for most manufacturers today, ladies and gentlemen, fall into three distinct phases. In my opinion, phase one is survival, on which I'll give you some case studies. Phase two is recovery, and phase three is business as usual. If you overcome the phase two, I'm sure the post-crisis phase three will be beneficial to all of us. It may take 6 to 18 months. The goal for manufacturers will be get to phase three as soon as possible at the lowest cost. There are three questions. Otherwise, it will look Industry 4.0 discussion is a very insensitive, arrogant, and inappropriate, impertinent discussion. First question is a topic very interesting to the manufacturers at all? Is it relevant at all? If it is relevant, what role can it play? In my opinion, the answer is yes. But we need to understand with the current case studies, in what way we can make use of Industry 4.0 for the recovery phase also. Let me now move on to the three case studies. Case study one, additive manufacturing for accelerated development of ventilators. This is a real life case study. All the three I am presenting are real life case studies. Proto Labs, a world leading specialist in England, it is in Britain. They are specialists in custom prototypes, low volume production parts, and already very famous for speed to market, quick delivery of components, prototypes, samples. And now they are helping in the frontline battle. When I saw their website, in the first home page, they are written, please contact us for any support on COVID-19 product development. They are written already in the website. They are already in 3D printing, CNC machining and injection molding. That expertise they are putting together to make critical parts for testing and ventilator masks. The company has played a key role in supporting Italian engineers in conversion of easy breath snorkeling equipment. This is used for deep diving into the ocean and all. That is being converted with ventilator masks. The Charlotte valves are 3D printed very rapidly. Normally it will take several months. They are doing it in a week's time. Shipped directly to an Italian company called Isinova. They are producing the kits and used to create a non-invasive ventilator mask. This is only one case study. There are many case studies in the medical field already up and running, and many automobile industry like Mahindra in India, Ford, and other manufacturers, automobile manufacturers globally in USA, in Europe, and various parts of the world are quickly moving in to make face masks, face shields, ventilator parts, respirators, venturi valves, and even swabs. Even swabs. The one on the right side is swabs. And it's amazing that millions of swabs are being manufactured through 3D printing and on a sterile atmosphere. My colleague, Dr. Jyotish, who helps me in the Council of Industry 4.0 in Bangalore Chamber, have agreed to do an exclusive webinar on 3D printing. I don't want to take away your time to take more case studies. He is the head of Additive Manufacturing Association of India and has his own company in 3D printing, Dr. Jyotish. Later on, I will request him to fix a schedule for you. Case study 2, smart robots step up to help combat the coronavirus. Rupa, are you able to see the small robo moving?
Yes,
Rupa?
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. As the spread of the virus began to increase in China, the head of Siemens China Research Group for Advanced Manufacturing Automation, he asked himself what he could do to help control the infection by leveraging cutting-edge technologies. An urgent news item was called for to produce disinfection robots in order to assist in deep cleaning of hospital wards, eliminating the potential human risk. And talked the original idea, why not create a new type of intelligent robot? His idea garnered immediate support from his managers at the Laboratory for Robotic Applications. It was co-established by Siemens and Aukma. Aukma is a Chinese company. They are into refrigeration field. Siemens needs no introduction. They collaborated with each other to produce this robot. The focus of this is to produce special robots, unmanned vehicles, and intelligent equipment. The first of its kind required a brainstorming by 10 engineers were put together. They asked 3 questions minimum. How should they integrate the control systems for moisturizer guns? I thought first it is moisturizer. Actually, it is a misterizer. It creates a mist of the sanitizing chemicals on an electric chassis. But look at the electric chassis. It looks like our tanks which are used in the army. But this is a miniature version of it. How could they maximize sterilization impact with less disinfectant consumption? How could they provide a 360-degree coverage even in confined areas, nook and corner? Now, based on this idea, it has been already implemented in just 7 days from the design to the manufacturing of the first proto, exactly 7 days. It is already running in China. I'm sure others are going to manufacture and import this kind of robots to help spread coronavirus in various hospitals and maybe even in our manufacturing factories. Case study 3. Augmented reality is playing a vital role in supporting ventilator manufacture. There is a consortium called Ventilator Challenge UK. They are a consortium of many companies, some in industrial business, technology business, engineering business, from aerospace sector, automobile sector, medical sector. They came together to produce a medical ventilators for UK. you know, we all know that USA and UK were the worst affected in the Western world, apart from Italy and Spain, France, etc. This consortium, coupled with the famous company called PTC, joined together to create augmented reality technology based solutions. There is a PTC product called Vuforia Expert Capture, together with Microsoft HoloLens, which is a wearable. They capture the crucial assembly steps and processes involved in building ventilators. And these assembly steps are, as we are talking, uploaded and edited to create a virtual assembly guide and relate through wearable equipment or smart devices to the factories of consortium partners. Believe me, these factories have never produced ventilators in the past. The power of augmented reality is helping support the UK government's call for more ventilators, thanks to the world's leading providers of industrial innovation technology. A short video on this, I thought will be interesting. Rupa, are you able to see the video?
Yes, sir.
Rupa? The key point in this is the assembly line. Not in such assembly, they will have 20-30 operators, even in a United Kingdom. Here they have only 4 or 5. And these people also are protected by social distancing, sanitization, etc. The paramount importance is to protect all the workers. The knowledge workers are remote. They are not in the shop floor. They may not be even in the factory. They may be working out of home or in a remote location. In this manner, the Ventilator Challenge Consortium created 2 new production lines. They took the help of a small factory, assembly factory called Smith and Penlon, and what takes 6 months time, they finished the entire thing in a couple of weeks to set up this assembly line. You could see the augmented reality is appearing from time to time on this video, where assembly are fed through remotely. The goal is to guide the manufacturer with no prior experience of building a ventilator successfully. To do is to put on the pair of HoloLens glasses through a smart device and follow the instructions. Thank you. That is a quick video for you to get an appreciation of what's going on. I don't want to take more time. The summary is very clear. 3D printing, robotics, and augmented reality are the 3 case studies I touched upon. There are much more case studies going on. Artificial intelligence and machine learning, including deep learning, is being used to efficiently identify potential drug treatments and vaccines. The Benevolent AI is a company from England, used machine learning ML to identify existing drugs that might be effective in treating corona patients, allowing for expedited human trials. Likewise, Rolls-Royce, which is a famous company in energy sector and aerospace sector, set up a consortium of data analytics experts challenged with finding new and faster ways of supporting business and governments. Their mission is to accelerate future digital technology capabilities and provide the expertise and forward thinking to solve industrial challenges and meet the demands of the changing world. Well. Let me look at the time now. Yeah, it's 3:40. I think we are almost coming to the 3rd module now. The 3rd module, ladies and gentlemen, is extremely important. Let me have my glass of wine in the meanwhile. Sorry, there is only water. I cannot buy the wine now during the lockdown. Okay, jokes apart. The survival, recovery, and post-recovery after the corona. The 3 major factors, ladies and gentlemen, we understood today are social distancing issues, supply chain disruption issues, data visibility issues. How can Industry 4.0 solve these problems? If there are no problems, we don't need solutions. If there are no solutions in Industry 4.0, we don't need Industry 4.0. Am I right? The first and foremost, social distancing and smart manufacturing. Are you all able to see the slide? Rupa?
Clear, sir.
Okay. Social distancing is a major subject. It is not only standing in a queue in the vegetable shop or grocery shop. When we enter the factory, some of my aerospace friends already started the factory. Dynamatic, Sasmos and others, including Rolls-Royce, they are all struggling to keep the distance between one workman and another workman. Adopting more smart manufacturing processes, it reduces the dependency on the human workers. I'm sorry, it will definitely bring down the employment in the short run. But if all our Indian manufacturing system survives and overcomes this corona, many businesses will move into India from other nations, and then the employment will grow tremendously in the years to come. The factories can reduce the size of a shift without downsizing production using smart manufacturing. By the way, it also guarantees the workers who are present in the shop floor to have a lower chance of exposure. Although business have had reason to embrace digital workflow before the corona has provided another strong incentive to move towards smart manufacturing as well as smart 3D printing processes. Again, second point, I am now talking about the problem and the solution. In my third module, I am touching on problem and solution. First module is problem. Second module was how we are using it currently during the crisis. Third module is recovery phase, post-recovery phase. Of course, some of the lockdown which is being relaxed, we can start using it or exploring it or preparing for it. Robotics and automation, physical automation and cyber physical automation. You know, robotics really brings down the requirement of operators for mundane operation. Arc welding in the car industry, passenger car industry, has become driven by robotics over the last 10-15 years in many of the factories in India, not to speak of Europe or America or Japan. Volkswagen, Tata Motors, Tata Fiat, Toyota, Maruti, you name it, most of the manufacturing of automobile industry today already using robotics. But if you are able to create a cyber physical system with a digitization, with an IoT device running along with robotics, then it becomes a smart factory. There may be a few people in a smart factory, but there are examples in the world called lights out manufacturing. They are called the dark factories. Smart factories may have some manpower, dark factories may have no manpower at all. One interesting example everybody knows is a Fanuc factory in Japan, very close to the Fuji mountain, produces the various control systems of Fanuc for global demand, also produces robots and robotic injection molding and other machining centers using robots. In that factory which produces control system, there is not a single human being. That is how this factory is called lights out factory. There are many lights out examples in some in the Europe and America. The idea of a fully functional factory needs no permanent human staff. Let us look at a small short video on this. Manufacturers are grappling with how to handle production demands today and in the near future. Many shops are leaning toward automated lights out for evenings and for weekends when employees are at home. There's plenty to understand to make it work efficiently and effectively. This particular case study is automobile industry, which is truly lights out. You cannot see anybody. There are many questions one need to ask before making the lights out factories a reality. Do we have the right part mix for automated manufacturing? Question number one. Do we have the right machine features and tools for lights out manufacturing? Question number two. Do we have the right automation, friendly tooling and work holding fixtures? Question number three. Do we have the remote monitoring software and machinist on call? Question number four. There has to be some human intervention in the lights out approach. You see this This Kobo or devices require to be calibrated. Monitoring system require information to be sent by a person during machine stoppage, during tool failure and other problems. It's an all-encompassing journey. Well. Moving on to the problems and solutions. Social distancing has got another famous solution. It's called robotic process automation, virtual and cyber physical. We should not mix up robotic automation in the physical shop floor, as we saw in the previous slides, to the robotic process automation, which is 100% IT enabled, office oriented approach. It's a technology that is integrated with business processes in order to automate certain activities, minimize human errors, and maximize productivity. One well-known German automaker recently implemented RPA, robotic process automation, and successfully automated a total of 28 different tasks. Not only that, the automated activities are now able to be undertaken 24/7. Benefits of RPA to the manufacturing industry: one, optimizing the time-centric repetitive routine processes, typically which are done in our finance and spares and stores and other departments. Increasing go-to-market speed by maximizing productivity, reducing cost by minimizing human errors, and increasing compliance in the legal system, HR department, increasing agility in operation, creating more flexibility. There are several use cases: bill of material generation, purchase order management, invoice management, service and spare parts management, workflow management, accounting and finance, demand and supply planning, logistics and inventory, report automation, stores warehouse management, sales order processing, ERP management. Deliberately I read out these points, these tasks, because as I am talking, some of our audience in the manufacturing industry must be looking at this possibility. Let us look at a quick video.
RPA, or robotic process automation, is where software.
I hope you're able to listen to the
interaction.
running commentary.
RPA robots can capture data and use applications just like humans do, at a fraction of the cost, and they never sleep, are 100% error-free, and love mundane tasks. As an example, Atos, a leader in RPA automation for manufacturing in conjunction with UiPath, recently partnered major German auto manufacturer to build a workforce of robots to automate business operations in their finance division. By replacing manual processes with 30 Atos robots, the company was able to eliminate over 2,600 hours of monthly labor, freeing up 16 full-time employees to do more meaningful work. The robots also cleared backlogs, improved compliance, and ultimately are saving the business over $6 million annually. Best of all, this is scalable. To find more about RPA.
Well, that looks like the movie of Robo, where Rajinikanth is coming. Truly, we can scale up the robos in the robotic process automation. Chatbots are already very famous. So I think among the various social distancing technologies, robotic process automation should be definitely considered in the immediate future. It's a low-hanging fruit. A related subject is virtual work and virtual shift. This may still require human beings, but they can be operating remotely. With social distancing, 50% of the people may not be able to attend the factories. Manufacturers will see a rapid adoption of remote diagnostic, management and collaboration tools. Then emerging virtual shift. First shift, second shift, general shift, third shift, virtual shift. This will be further augmented by real-time data, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, and other tools, so that the virtual shift of domain experts can digitize and scale up the much needed expertise across the organization. Even design department can operate out of home or out of a remote location. The days of integrated manufacturing under one roof have gone. Well, Last but not the least is our famous digital transformation. We talked about many technologies of Industry 4.0 problems and solutions, but all of them can be brought under one more umbrella called digital transformation. There is a decoupling of supply chains happening as we are talking. We already talked about supply chain disruption. We need greater visibility and coordination and better collaboration with suppliers and customers, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, globally, as well as within India. Digital tools such as blockchain, which talks in terms of a network of supplier rather than a linear chain, and related processes were already being considered to minimize the risk of supply chain, to improve the accuracy and flexibility. But with coronavirus, the need for such technologies are no more in the seminar rooms. Even I started getting interested in the subject of blockchain. All this will lead to digitization of the entire value chain, which we call a supply chain. The visibility is a major weakness. Look at what is happening due to the corona. What is the demand for products? Where can we manufacture them? Is a very important question. What are our current raw material, work in progress, finished goods inventory levels? Second most important question. What is our manufacturing capacity, both in terms of human resources and asset availability? Fourth important question. Third important question. What is our spare parts inventory and where are they located? Which warehouse? In warehouse, where is it located and which shelf? After sales service is looking for this information. Where are our raw material shipments? What alternatives do we have? Do we need to develop new vendors? And finally, how is our finished goods distribution network operating? Visibility is extremely important. To bring the data visibility and traceability, extremely important technology is industrial IoT. Industrial Internet of Things is a foundation and basis of bringing streamlining of workflow in the manufacturing processes. It is not only bringing an automation, but it brings a competitive advantage. Indeed, it is a strategic asset. After the 2009 Great Recession or the financial depression, many companies which used software technologies like artificial intelligence and IoT were better off than other companies by bringing tremendous efficiencies in predictability, capacity, availability, and flexibility in supply chain manufacturing operations. If it could happen in 2009-10, why not now again? For manufacturing, greater connectivity, even 4G may become 5G and so on and so forth, will significantly accelerate the deployment of industrial IoT. Sensing, data visualization, artificial intelligence, and other collaboration tools across the value chain. Product lifecycle management is here to stay. My last but not the least slide, summary. The summary of the various solutions, quickly recapping. Real-time visibility, artificial intelligence, robotic process automation, mobile technology, augmented and virtual reality. The same technologies coupled with digital twins and support the OEMs remotely through improved uptime, machine utilization. The same technologies coupled with virtual working, remote working to manage expert manpower remotely during lockdown and beyond lockdown. 3D printing, much has been said about it. There will be a separate webinar by Bangalore Chamber by Dr. Jyotish. And the important point is 3D printing close to the location required that were stuck in the supply chain. You don't need to export 3D printed parts. Better to produce them where it is required. Truly a just-in-time concept. Produce what is required when it is required is a just-in-time concept. Use of automated guided vehicles in the shop floor as well as in the logistic area. Use of drones in the large shop floors as well as in the social area or between suppliers in a in a cluster of industries, such as an industrial estate, with OEM, Tier 1, Tier 2, all under one roof. And all this will improve the logistics and further assist in social distancing. Ladies and gentlemen, my conclusions, therefore, are as follows. Up to 2019, many of the technologies of Industry 4.0 and the solutions were seen as very nice to have. Okay, let us also try, good to have. Let us attend some seminars and let us learn something. You know, people are in a learning mode. Many were waiting to enter the mainstream adoption. People wait and watch. Okay, let my neighboring industry let him do. Let my competing company do it. Let my OEM do it. Let another MSME do it. Then I will watch and learn from it. Not anymore. Industry 4.0 has a different role from 2020 onward. First role, assist in more and more companies to survive and come out of the crisis. Number 2, shorten the recovery phase. Is it 6 months, 12 months, 18 months? If you use Industry 4.0, the recovery phase can be reduced. It will help the business to normal operations as soon as possible. Point 3, provide a platform to develop new, more resilient businesses in the medium to long term post-recovery phase. We have seen a bouquet of solutions in my presentation. I will certainly share this presentation in a PDF format through the Bangalore Chamber of Commerce. Rather than retreating away from these tools, I believe we should be thinking about, at least now, how we can use these technologies now and in the future. On that note, thank you so much. And I would like to end my presentation offering once again my acknowledgement and gratitude to the research papers made by Deloitte, by McKinsey, by manufacturer.com, and other scholarly articles belonging to the Industry 4.0 domain knowledge. Thank you so much. I will sip my glass of wine, water, and wait for your questions, if any.
Sir, good evening, sir. Thank you for the nice presentation.
Good evening.
Sir, this is INR from Tyagarajar Polytechnic. This is INR from Tyagarajar Polytechnic, sir. Salem, sir. From Sonakal Pumping Station. Yes, sir. We already met in the IAAC visit, sir. From Tyagarajar, sir, and our principal Karthikeyan also participated in that, sir.
What is your question, sir?
Yes, sir, my question is, if we are implementing the RPA and AI-oriented things, is it remove the manual manpower maximum, sir?
No. Look at the applications I have given under RPA.
Yes,
they are typically belong to the finance department, purchase department, stores department, logistic department, accounts department, HR department. In other words, these are all the support functions. You see, the core process of manufacturing, namely converting raw material into finished product.
Yes, sir.
It cannot be done by a software alone, for which you need a cyber physical system, which means a combination of software technologies like Industry 4.0 technologies and typical machinery like CNC machine tool, like automation, assembly line automation, robotics, and so on and so forth. Thank you.
Sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Any other question? Even Prithvi or Rupa can read out important questions. Viriyasamy, can you spell out your question?
Sir, good afternoon. Thank you very much. Sir, considering the cost economics in India.
Are you Viriyasamy?
Yes, sir. Viriyasamy here.
From Fronius Technologies.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The world famous arc welding company. Tell me, sir.
Thank you, sir. Sir,
tell me, sir.
The RPA was very good, and considering the cost economics in India, so how is India and the Indian entrepreneurs or the management is ready to go for this, sir? Have anybody approached you for any consultancy, or anybody is ready to do this in India now, sir?
You see, many of the non-manufacturing companies in the service sector have already done RPA in a big way. See, the other day, I tried to cancel my flight to Chandigarh. I was trying to have a nice holiday in the month of April, you know. And when I cancelled, no human being I could talk to. I could talk to a chat box. I could talk to a chat robot. And then they sent to some more people who are assisting those robots. There are many case studies in manufacturing sector. It is slowly picking up. Some multinationals have already implemented. I cannot mention names now. Already implemented before even the corona in their processes such as support functions. Some of them, they try to use outsourcing of these processes. You know, the entire ITPL Whitefield campus in Bangalore is full of outsourced processes of support functions of manufacturing. There are many companies outsourcing complete supply chain, processing of purchase orders, payment to vendor. But there are many companies still doing it in their own factory. A busload of staff is going to the factory. They may touch one another. They may shake hands. They may get a coronavirus or some other virus. You know, the muted virus of corona, already they found 50 types. Corona is not one corona. It's a novel corona, but there are going to be many more novel coronas. So why should all these support functions go to the factory? Thank you, Perisami.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Prithvi, Rupa can read out some of the questions, or the audience can ask themselves after introducing their name.
Can I ask one question? Sethu Raman from Sasmos. The first slide, first point was.
First of all, I want you to tell in 5 seconds to the audience how your company started even 1 month before all others.
No, we had a few seminars thanks to BCIC and all, and then it's a tough call, but yes, we have been, and it's been growing. We've been able to get people in, and most of what they have told the government we had to follow. And
Good.
Yeah. So what I would want to ask you, your first slide, first point was extremely powerful and completely shook the basics of economics. There was no supply, there was no demand.
Correct. And there are no people. And there are no people.
And then there is no people. The resources also are gone. Now the question what we are also grappling with is which is going to come first and how is it going to move when you open up? This is a question we are having a problem in the whole world. In each affects every one of us. The sales teams are affected, productions are affected, supply chain is terribly impacted, and most important is we do not know where the cash flow and how the cash flow cycle is going to rotate. So if someone has an idea of which will be sparking first, of course, we would like to start production and put more supply in without the demand. Yes, some industries can.
Okay, very good question. I already thought about it, even though I retired from active employment 2 years back. I tried to put myself in the shoes of others. I think in my career I have seen one thing you can learn at any point in time is to go and meet the customer or talk to the customer over a phone, because now we cannot meet them, of course. Airlines are closed. Ask him what you can do to the customer. Without talking to the respective customers of the respective suppliers in the value chain, I don't think you will get any visibility to this problem that you mentioned. That means the first and foremost is about demand side. It is not about supply side. It is not about resource side like people. It is from the demand side. For example, in the aeronautical industry, if Boeing and Airbus and other companies are not going to fly any more aircrafts, they may be completely changing their demand. My dear Sethuraman sir, they may not be honoring their previous contracts. During force majeure clause, like a pandemic, they can cancel orders without penalty. So typically aeronautical industry, where no flight is flying anywhere in the world except a few here and there, thanks to Mr. Trump and others, it is a big question mark. Automobile industry may revive sooner or later. Again, somebody should go and ask the end customer. End customer is not Maruti, it is not Mahindra, it is not Tata. The end customer is the one going to the dealer shop and buying the car, or buying the truck, or buying the tractor. I'm sure the OEMs manufacturing automobile are grappling with this problem. What is the end customer thinking? Is he going to buy my car, or any car for that matter, when there is so much of lockdown of taxis? Machine tool industry, other day there was a webinar I attended, bigger question mark. As they say, the capital goods industry is affected always to start with, and always recovery the last. Affected first and recovery the last, which is the economics of capital goods industry. So they have to go and ask, my dear Tata, my dear Mahindra, would you like to buy one more machine? They will say, sorry, I have 20% capacity utilization even after lockdown was exited. Until I reach 80% capacity utilization, I don't need one more lathe, one more VMC, one more HMC. Sorry, thank you. So the biggest challenge is the visibility of the demand side from the customer. The next challenge will be visibility of the supply side in quality parts, on-time delivery, in sets of bill of materials. When those two are taken care, then people have to come to the factory and start assembling them or machining them or whatever they want to do. So manpower resource will be the third of the challenge and not the first of the challenge. It's a more of a strategic answer to a strategic question. I think this alone calls for a separate seminar of how to manage demand, supply, and manpower. That will be a 3-hour seminar, I'm sure.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, it was really eye-opener. Yes, we should wait.
Sir, thank you, sir.
There is some echoing of the question.
Sir, Narahari.
Dr. Narahari.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The same is echoing. Rupa, there is a problem.
Sir, Narahari.
Rupa, there is a problem. Name is echoing. Go ahead. Sir, the question is echoing, sir. Rupa?
Yes, sir. Some internet drop at his end, I believe, sir.
On whose side?
Mr. Narahari's side, sir.
So, Dr. Narahari, there is a problem with your internet, it seems.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Professor, can you put in the chat box your question so we can reach out?
Yes, sir. Yes, please put the question on the chat box, sir. Dr. Narahari's question is very, very important. I want to ask the question. Yes, sir. I'm listening, waiting.
Sir, this is
another question.
Sir, excuse me, sir. Very lucid, informative speech. So we are very grateful to you, sir. I am Sendil Kamal from Tyagarajar Polytechnic College, Salem.
Tell me, sir. Tell me, sir.
Sir, are we going to the government? Indian government is going to follow protectionist economy, sir. Hereafter, that is protectionist economy, sir.
What is protectivist?
Protectionist economy, sir.
No. That is not the response. try to understand, when you are not able to get, suppose Toyota is unable to get the parts from Thailand factory. Suppose Toyota is not able to get the parts from Thailand factory, right?
Sir.
Where will they get the parts? They have to produce in India.
Yes, sir.
This is only an example. My friends in Toyota should not mistake me.
Sir.
So, in our own interest, we have to create for 6 to 18 months period a fallback option. A fallback option. That doesn't mean we need to permanently do that. That is one point. At the same time, for Make in India project, we have to look at inviting investments from Japan, Germany, and other nations to come to India, set up shop, because we are the least affected by Corona.
Yes, sir.
And thirdly, for our defense industry, we don't need to depend on importing of defense equipment. Not only the final products used by defense people, but also the capital goods used in the defense industry can be easily supplied from Indian machine tool manufacturers also. So I gave you 3 examples. One automobile industry, one defense industry example, and third is the capital goods industry. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. I cannot hear the question. We can type the question.
Sir, this is INR again, sir, from Tyagaraja Polytechnic, sir.
Oh, lot of students and professors. Okay, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, myself, professor, placement officer, sir.
Yes, we'll have a big problem of placement now.
Yeah. So we are done with that, sir. Almost we are finished it, sir. But the joining only happening in the November, sir. So my question is, so is there opportunities will be more for creating the startups in the automobile field or the IT field, sir? So after the COVID issues,
Can you repeat it again?
sir, so how the startups going to be built in our Indian ecosystem, sir? So because after COVID, how the startups can create it? So is what are the sectors will be opportunities will be getting more, sir?
See, the one sector which is already doing very well and will do more well is the healthcare sector.
Yes, sir.
And now people will start thinking 3D printing will explode in healthcare sector, as you saw the examples. But other sectors will open up one by one as per the demand of the consumer, final consumer. To take, for example, my own theory, the essential goods like milk, like daily requirement of grocery, like daily requirement of vegetables, agro products, etc., etc. Those industries which are depending heavily on essential goods will get the first priority. And then come people mobility from one place to another. So slowly the taxis, the buses, the trains, the metros, and then finally maybe the airline, because people will be now scared to get into aircraft, because aircraft is an air-conditioned atmosphere. It has been found that Corona thrives and enjoys air-conditioned atmosphere. That's why Karnataka government has stopped use of metro rail. Whereas they say ordinary BMTC bus chalega, not the Volvo bus.
Sure.
So sectors which are travel oriented will open up again. The third sector, which in my opinion will open up very fast, is a technology driven. Whatever we talk today, the technology driven areas, remote working, technologies which support remote working, technology which support virtual working, augmented reality for remote maintenance, digitalization, because then only the factories can run.
Sure.
And then comes, to begin with, the consumer durables like washing machine, those kind of refrigerators, whichever is used by the common customer will pick up first.
Sure.
Then comes at the end of the chain, capital goods industry like machine tool, etc., will come. But let me tell you one thing. In all this corona crisis all over the world, one industry never slept. That is the electrical industry. Electrical industry never slept.
Yes.
The electricity was being produced by power stations. The switchgear production was going on wherever is required. And they'll all be under strain now because spare parts may not be available for the power sector. Distribution of power was super in the last 45 days of lockdown. Even we are having this webinar because of power. Without power,
Yes.
no computer, no Wi-Fi. So we should really thank the electrical industry to support us during the 45 days.
Sure.
So that sector will grow very fast, accelerated. So I think there'll be a new normal happening. I'm only speculating or reimagining. There may be experts, economists who will recommend, who will analyze better than me. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Tiago, would you like to add something? Tiago?
Yeah, good
Dr.
evening.
Narahari's
Nice to see you.
Dr. Narahari's
Nice to see you.
Thank you, Tiago. Thank you, Tiago. I will come to Salem to
Yes,
talk about
yes.
Salem. We'll talk the same subject. Come to Salem. Please ensure
Sure,
social
sure.
distance when I come there.
Yes,
Dr.
yes. I'm
Narahari's,
far away from Bangalore.
yes. Dr. Narahari's question.
And I think
Sorry?
we've had more than about 7 of our professors attending this program.
No. Professors and academic people are very important for this program because
Sir,
we have to
31
think.
people from our institution, sir.
We have to think
Yeah,
out
right,
of the
sir.
box. See, even when I
Sure.
prepared this presentation, I prepared thinking I am a professor. Okay, Dr. Narahari's
Yes.
question. Dr. Narahari's question, please. Managing supply chain disruption while keeping healthcare as a priority is top agenda of COO, CEO. What are your thoughts on how to handle these issues? Oh, I think this was covered in my presentation. First and foremost is we must explore the possibility of decoupling the supply chain. Decoupling means every member of the supply chain should have complete transparency and visibility of every other member. It is like a contradiction. It's like oxymoron, decoupling. But decoupling also means reduce the dependency on each other. But having said that, there are technology enablers like blockchain. I'm not an expert on that, but we have experts in Bangalore Chamber who can cover on this point. But supply chain, extremely important is to understand what is the demand from the end customer. Then come to tier 1, tier 2, OEM, tier 2, tier 2, tier 3, MSME. In the chain of customers, we must raise the visibility. On the visibility, there are many technologies which are all foundation being IoT. Very detailed presentation is required on supply chain management. And very important is product life cycle management becomes very important in managing supply chain, which means we must start thinking from design to after sales service. Not only looking at manufacturing, smart manufacturing. Dr. Narahari, are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Again, your SR is echoing. The design to after sales service. That means digitalization of design, digitalization of vendor parts, logistics, sourcing, machining, assembly, finished product dispatch, and installation, commissioning, and finally after sales service. All this have to be connected through the digital network. Earlier it was a nice to have. Earlier it was nice to have. Today it is mandatory, because those of you who did not have this PLM approach, how will you find out what parts vendor has, what parts customer wants, what parts are lying in shop floor, what are the spare parts required, which after sales service is suffering? Nothing is visible. Product lifecycle management should be taught in all the colleges, including RB College of Engineering. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chandramouli, I have a question.
Your good name, sir?
Anup Vadhwa.
Hi, Anup. How are you?
Very well. Congratulations, sir, for opening everybody's vision to this reality. My question is with regard to your summary about these trend towards remote working and digitalization.
Okay.
So the technology piece you have explained. My question is, for most of us who are used to the analog way of working,
right,
which is like meeting, taking a decision partly by emotion, partly on the spot, and not really looking at data in its true essence. How easy it is going to be for the majority of our people, including the engineers in the colleges, to actually get trained in the digital mindset?
I think you have touched upon a very, very important point. I was very happy to attend your webinar yesterday, where one of our colleagues talked about, I think it was Mr. Ram, Venkatram? Shivaram.
Yes.
He talked about how new soft skills of listening ability, understanding, peripheral vision, and trying to do the job at the same time, listen to an instruction. This is a big ask. I think starting from the managing director down to the last operator have to unlearn whatever he knows so far, culturally, technically, professionally, and start relearning all over again. Mr. Anup, today is my first webinar. Let me tell you, it is a great learning for me. One of my colleagues from Tata Indian Institute of Skill sent me a humorous WhatsApp message. Mr. Mouli, you always wanted face-to-face meeting. Now we are going to do webinar. All the best to you. Yeah, all the best to you. He wrote. I said, in webinar, at least I am not seeing all of them. Mostly it is one-way communication. But in other decision, we have to be face-to-face. So
yes,
at the age of 62, I cannot unlearn many things. I want to stand in front of the shop floor, like Mr. Vijay Paranjpe, who came yesterday. He was always a shop floor man, I met him in Siemens days. He'll stand in the shop floor, call his people, talk to them. Those emotional things are gone. We have to perhaps on the lighter side, keep our emotion maybe to the family members. Okay. But I think on the softer side, there'll be a lot of counseling required, coaching, mentoring. It's very scary to think. And you and me, Anup, we are lucky because we have crossed that age, and we can talk about it in webinars. But to go back to the office without going to the shop floor, I think I will, personally speaking, feel very miserable.
Yes.
I don't have a clear answer, but it's a good question to have a debate on.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. But Anup, one more thing I want to touch upon. Samarth Udyog through C4I4 you are heading. I'm sorry, FSM. FSM in Delhi you are heading. For the sake of all other audience, 66 people still on the line. Mr. Anup Vadhwa heads what is called a Samarth Udyog Smart Manufacturing Counseling Training Company called FSM. There they are also offering courses for the grassroots people. How the digitalization can be used to create future skills. Augmented reality is not only a new technology, but also a training tool. It's a training tool. And Dr. Jha, who's in the panel now, I think, Dr. Jha is an expert on creating tools himself. He is one company makes kits in the college. Can you believe he makes IoT kits in the college? Indian Institute of Delhi. So skilling at the grassroots level, skilling at the team leader level, skilling at manager level, and of course, skilling at the MD level. We depend on Samarth Udyog, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Chandramouli sir, there's a question from Dr. Karthikeyan. Dr.
Yes,
Karthikeyan, can you ask the question to the speaker?
Yes, sir. I am Karthikeyan from Salem, Sona College.
Oh, okay. Tell me, sir.
Good evening, sir. Good evening. And I hope that there are a lot of opportunities in medical and healthcare sectors.
Yes.
And here also our management is manufacturing a lot of masks also. And I want to know, apart from the ventilator and the mask, is any other opportunities to manufacture healthcare products using 3D printing, sir?
There is a plethora. There is a plethora of parts. Yeah. It is not only in ventilator. Ventilator became urgent because of the way corona affects our lung. Suppose tomorrow there is another novel corona, different novel corona which affects our stomach. Then we may have a 3D printed stomach. And already there is a 3D printed kneecap which is which has not been commercialized, but it is going to come. 3D printing is one area, can replace other technologies like titanium and other parts which are getting into our so-called orthopedic surgeries. So corona is only talking about lungs. Oxygen. We need a lot of oxygen in the lungs. So ventilator. You know, when I met with the accident in 2018, I was on ventilator for 8 days. Terrible, terrible. I tell you, these people who are in ventilator for 40 days, it's better to not live than live on a ventilator. There are many, many case studies. You might like to do some research. I can send you a link through Mr. Tyagarajan, Mr. Tyagu Velliappa. I'm going to request Dr. Jyotish to create a webinar very soon. Dr. Karthikeyan.
Very much, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Am I audible to all of you? Because I see lot of chat messages saying, you know, I'm not audible and all.
No, it's audible, sir.
Audible.
Audible, sir. Very clear, sir.
Many people have written, there is no audio like that.
No, so that is the internet speed at their end, sir.
Oh.
You are audible, sir.
Okay, Dr. Arunakar Mishra, my good friend from HAL, ex-HAL, has written one question. Dr. Arunakar Mishra, are you still there? I think he has left perhaps, because the aeronautical industry is not very urgent. So he has left the quorum on the lighter side. His question is very interesting for all of us. What are the first few steps MSME must necessarily take to move on the path of this Industry 4.0 transformation?
Arunakar Mishra is there. Is there, sir? Is there? Arunakar Mishra is there.
Dr. Arunakar Mishra ji, good afternoon, sir. Okay, he's not, I think he's having his coffee. Okay, the first and foremost, not only MSME, Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, OEM, anybody should first address computerization. Step 1 is computerization. Step 2 is digitization. Step 2 is digitization. That means there should be no more paper documentation. Step 3 is digitalization. Digitalization means connecting using sensors for whatever you want to measure in your shop floor or whatever it is. Sensors for vibration, sensors for bearing noise, sensors for spindle, sensors for coolant level, flow, sensors in a process industry, sensors could be pressure, temperature, flow, whatever. Digitalization means digitally measuring at the point of measurement. And fourth is digital transformation, which means we have to train all the ecosystem people, including operators, to understand the meaning of digitization and digitalization. The purpose should be understood by MSME is to improve the satisfaction of their customer and reduce the quality defects, reduce cost of manufacturing, reduce speed of delivery. Quality, delivery, cost. Faster, better, cheaper. So Industry 4.0 is only a tool, like a lean manufacturing tool, like a TQM tool, like a TPM tool, like 5S, like quality circle, to manufacture things to satisfy the customer through quality, delivery, and cost improvement. By doing digitalization, what is the benefit? You will get real-time data. Underline the word real-time data. On a mobile phone, MSME can see what is the production, what is the downtime, which operator is absent, which operator should come tomorrow, which operator should get multi-skilling, so that 3 operators can be replaced by 1 operator, which customer order is cancelled, which supplier order is cancelled. All this he can see on his mobile phone. I think all MSMEs are owned by entrepreneurs. They love their mobile phone. There are plethora of apps have come for smart manufacturing, designed and developed by Samarth Udyog and their associates. Indian Institute of Science is one of them. C4I4 Kirloskar is one of them. CMTI in Bangalore is one of them, and so on and so forth. We can offer these things through Bangalore Chamber of Commerce, through our MSME workshop. Prithvi, you can make a note of this. Thank you, Mr.
Sure,
Mishra.
sir. Thank you, sir. Sure, sir. Sir, there's a question from Dr. Senapati. Dr. Senapati, if you're there, you can ask the question.
Sir, very good evening. This is Dr. Senadipati from Tyagarajar Polytechnic College.
Thank you, sir.
Is there any scope for biomedical instrumentation course or new branch? So we go for a new branch, biomedical instrumentation.
I am neither bio nor medical nor instrumentation. So I'm trying to combine the 3 words and think whether I can answer this question.
Yes, sir.
You see, the virus is bio. The ventilator is medical. The instrumentation is digital manufacturing. So, by combining the virus, the healthcare instrument, ventilator, and Industry 4.0, I think you can definitely offer biomedical instrumentation as a subject under Industry 4.0 MTech. Don't do it for BTech. Do it for MTech.
Sir, again, this is Karthikeyan.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, sir. Sir, I read from papers there is a sort of ventilators in India, and most of the ventilators we are importing from other countries. We are not manufacturing. Roughly 75% of the ventilators are imported from other countries. Why we could not able to make such a kind of good ventilators? When I am asking with the discussion with the doctors, they are saying that the Indian ventilators are not comfortable for the patients. So why we cannot able to make such a good ventilators in India?
No. DRDO developed a ventilator within 1 week when the corona was declared.
Yeah, now they have started manufacturing. Before that,
I was told that they got order for 20,000 numbers. They gave order to 20,000 numbers to a private company. I forgot. And even Mahindra developed it. So many people have developed ventilators. I lost touch with whether we are still importing it. But see, the question is, first we have to survive the lives of people. the proven solution, if it is available from Italy through the company called Isinova or from the company called Ventilator UK, or for that matter, a trustworthy Chinese company, the people who suffered the corona most would have made a proven solution for ventilators. There, immediately we should start using them. Then I'm sure our industry is developing our own ventilator. Right now our cases are 30,000 cases, of which around 3,000 are in the hospital requiring ventilators. So as the number of cases are controlled, we don't need to import ventilators. If it increases, we have to import. Also, we have to manufacture locally.
And thank you very much, sir. And I am a principal of Tyagarajar Polytechnic, and very much thankful to you, since from our Sona group, Sona College and Polytechnic, some 45 staff members are attending this meeting. Thank you very much for giving the opportunity. This is actually given instruction by our Vice Chairman Tyago. And thank you very much. It's a good presentation, sir. Nice presentation. We will invite our institution also. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
And
Sona Group.
And his visit is pending for the last 5 years. So I think after the corona, we should somehow bring you here. But I think you touched upon a very interesting point, saying that how you described the coronavirus and how different verticals are involved. So that is exactly what we are saying, because we have even ECE, we have EEE students, faculties also attending this. Because now what is happening is ventilators can be manufactured today, but tomorrow if there is any service required, you need to have a system of support services which can be there, because once the corona is over, we cannot just throw it away. So the support system is what needs to be really looked at, because the MSME sector will come up very fast, but after that the AMC or some kind of a maintenance schedule is what we are trying to train on. Will there be any set pattern on this, or would there be it will evolve?
See, everything will evolve, no doubt, but my own opinion is MSMEs cannot afford cost of buying these technologies on a per company basis. So Sona Valiappa Group can consider floating a new company called shared services. In the shared services, Thiago, you can offer for 20 to 30 companies in geographical clusters or industry clusters or sectoral clusters common services of how they can get into technology driven manufacturing, digital manufacturing, smart manufacturing, robotization. They cannot afford to buy these knowledge on a one-on-one basis. So if somebody like you can take an initiative to form a low-cost subscription-based, not buying-based, subscription-based. There is one company offering 3,000 rupees per machine connected. I don't want to mention the name of the company. I attended a webinar day for us today. 3,000 rupees per machine connected is all the cost of digitalization per annum for the year. So I think Sona has been in the software industry, Sona is in university, Sona is in manufacturing, Sona is in logistics. You must now look at shared services for MSMEs.
Exactly. So as we speak, there is something, Prithvi, we should do a program on the gig economy. That could be the next big thing which is going to be changing. The gig economy is supposed to be having, if you want a project, you will call 30, 40, 50 people, they will work for you the project and then go on. So similarly, shared services, going back to body shopping of the 1990s. Similarly, the gig economy is coming back now after all this, like TCS has said, work from home and things like this. So I accept what you're saying, very true.
Thiago, TCS has declared officially that 75% of their IT staff will be working remotely or working out of home from 2025. That means from now to 2025, 5 years, 10%, 10%, 10%, 10%, 10%, 75% will be working out of home, and they are the leader in the market, global market. All other IT companies have to follow suit.
Sure.
So there is the future skills which we are trying to launch in Tata Indian Institute of Skill. My last remark of the day, it's already 4:45. Tata Indian Institute of Skill is launching very soon the future skill program for the whole country. It is an initiative started in Maharashtra and Gujarat, but it will go countrywide with the digitally enabled. When that happens, all this will become a reality. It is no more a good thing to have. It is a must to have. Thank you, Tyagu.
Thank you. Thank you. This is Sindil Kumar, mechanical head, Sona College of Technology. I have one question. So that I have studied that there is a Industry 5.0 which focus the customization on products, so that robots will be collaborated with the humans. So in Industry 5.0 again, that focus will be on human interactions in the production.
You see, I'm not very familiar with Industry 5.0 because I have still not learned even 4.0. But what I heard is, see, before 3.0 is computerization, etc. 4.0 is using internet. So these are all jargons. 5.0 is another jargon. We should not worry about the jargon. What I'm saying is, it is an evolution from one technology to another technology. And Kobo and collaborative robo is also part of 4.0. So let me try to understand what is 5.0 before I can send you some mail on that. I did read about it, but I couldn't grasp it because 4.0 itself is so vast. Thank you, sir.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Chandramouli sir, can we conclude?
Yeah, there are 56 people. I'm not sure how many of them from Tyagu. So if professors will have more and more questions, so we have to go to Salem for that. But I think I would like to thank all the participants, industry participants, academic participants, professors, students, my dear colleagues, Rupa, Prithvi, Mr. Devesh Agarwal, Mr. Parasuraman, and all the office bearers of Bangalore Chamber of Industry and Commerce to give me this opportunity to deliver my first webinar in my life. Thank you so much for all of you. If there are any more questions, my email ID is there in the last slide. I'm going to share this presentation on PDF format with a request not to copy, and they can send their questions on this mail. Okay. Thank you, Prithvi.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for all the participants for joining here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.